Curtis, thanks very much for your time. I remember you saying to me when we was at Bournemouth that you described the performance as gutless. That was far from it, wasn't it? That was excellent.
It was a brilliant performance. I think to concede another penalty, I think our 10th of the season, 2 minutes into the game, you're fearing the worst, especially against a team like Bournemouth that done us 6-1 down at their place. But the lads, after, I give it 5-10 minutes, obviously we were a bit shaky, but after that we were in cruise control and I think we were the better team. And obviously once we got the goal, we were right in their faces and managed to get another one and kept going again, and that's what that manager wants. I think it would have been easy to maybe get 2-1 up, sit back a little bit and try and soak up a little bit of pressure, but we were still in their faces and managed to get a third.
I've noticed under the new manager you play with quite a lot of pace and you've somehow managed to get even wider on the pitch with the wingers and getting the ball into the box, things like that. How much impact has he had so far in terms of training and new regime?
Yeah, he's had a massive impact. I think he's come in straight away and he's wanted to put his stamp on. He hasn't sat back and thought, I'll give him a couple of weeks, work out who does what and work out people's best positions. He's come in, he's literally physically grabbing people, moving them in and around areas in training and making sure they're in the right places. And I think it sums it up that we had a meeting the other day, it was meant to last 10 minutes on the Swansea win, and that went on for 35 minutes. So the man is meticulous and he wants the best for us to keep us up.
Yeah, and just thinking about the next 4 games before we just go back to the game, of course, you've got arguably some of the world's best teams, of course. In the current situation, we're in the bottom 3. Would you rather just get these games out of the way?
I think it is good to get them out of the way. You'd obviously prefer not to play all 4 of them in a row because obviously if a team gains a march on you, it's tough looking up and thinking you may be 6 points behind another team. But that's not to say we won't get any points from those games, but obviously they're very tough. But if you do get them out of the way, you know the task ahead, and you know that from those games you need to get so many points, and hopefully we can do it. But we're not going to write ourselves off just yet, and hopefully go into Chelsea, a little bit of unsettlement there. Hopefully we can go there and put on a performance.
We looked at the bench, you see, you've got Jake Livermore starting on the bench today, your 2 new signings, and of course Abel Hernandez. How amazing is it for you guys to have a player of his quality back in the dressing room?
It is brilliant because all along I was saying if we could get Abel alongside Mbakani, the way Mbakani held up the ball for us, and I thought Mbakani was probably our best player over the month of December, but he didn't have that killer instinct beside him in Abel. And but luckily the way it worked today with Snoddy and Abel together, I think their movement, both of them, caused Bournemouth all sorts of problems. And Abel, with all due respect to the other strikers we've got, he's the predator, he's the natural finisher, and if he sniffs a chance, he usually takes it.
Yeah. And of course, just regarding, of course, bringing other players into the squad as well, how far off do you feel as a player, from a player's perspective, you are to really getting this going for the second half of the season in terms of just actually pushing forward? Do you feel more needs to be done?
We obviously still want to strengthen, still maybe get a player or 2 in. I'm sure the manager's still looking at that. But it's hard because even with Mick before, we weren't far off it performance-wise. It's just the result wasn't turning. We had 2 games where if we'd stayed in the game the last 5 minutes of Everton, stayed in the game for the last 5 minutes of Palace, we'd have been 4 points better off already. So we weren't far off it then, but now obviously, like I say, I guess the new managers come in and that meticulous edge has just stopped us falling back and letting us concede late on.